Hi, this is Dr. Ruan with Thrive Psychology. Today I want to talk to you a little bit about trauma and whether you may be having unresolved traumas that are impacting your life. When we think about trauma, we tend to think of things like earthquakes, witnessing a murder, something really like, but actually trauma is anything that makes us feel like our safety or our well-being is threatened. And so if you experience traumas as a child, things that can seem not so traumatic to an adult may be very traumatic to you as a child. Like, for example, your parents yelling or divorcing, witnessing somebody being injured. Because what happens in our brain when we feel threatened is that frontal lobe part, the prefrontal cortex, shuts down, and that's the part that makes sense of things and has meaning and planning, the higher functioning. And instead we go into that more primitive amygdala, and that's the fight, flight, freeze. And the whole point of that part of our brain is to keep us alive. And so we experience that situation like really at a primitive level, and we remember all the smells, and we remember the things that we hear, and it doesn't get filed away into the part of our brain that makes meaning and puts things in clean chronological order in the hippocampus, because that part of our brain is not as active. And so our body gets flooded with adrenaline and norepinephrine and cortisol, and we just don't process that memory. And so what happens when we never do process that memory is it just sits there, and it has triggers, because whenever we are reminded of it, it's like we're right back there, and we feel that feeling. We may feel very small or very scared or very threatened when we smell a certain smell or see a certain thing, and so we avoid all of those triggers. And we may not sleep as well, we may have nightmares, because our brain is still trying to process it, still trying to make sense of it. But when we avoid it, we're not able to do that, and so it may numb us out. We may not be feeling the highs and the lows. You may have triggering events where you just feel scared. You may have a sense of hypervigilance or apprehension, like the other shoe is going to drop any time and you don't know why. It's because that part of our brain is a little out of whack, because it hasn't processed that memory. So the way that you process that memory is, first of all, I really spend a lot of time building up your own sense of safety. So meditation, mindfulness, grounding, all of that, so that you don't get overwhelmed by those memories, and that you have a way of keeping yourself calm so that your brain can process it and you don't go right back into the moment. And then we expose you more to the memory, either through EMDR, through exposure therapy, through meaning making, and this memory then is not so threatening and so looming to you, and it becomes filed away with your other memories. It may always be a difficult memory, but it loses that scariness of coming right back into the moment. So if you feel like you're having symptoms of unprocessed trauma, sleeplessness, nightmares, triggers, a sense of anxiety and apprehension, hypervigilance, then give me a call, and we'll talk about your particular situation and what I might be able to do to help you.